Oh, hey, it's me. Yeah, hey. Hey, welcome to the 184th episode of the Sawdust Station Podcast with your hosts, myself, Nat from Nap's Naughty Works LLC, Josh from North Country Woodworking, and of course, great guest and amazing sponsor, Daniel from PWN CNC. He's with us this evening. If you weren't there for the live, you would know that one, he's the person that has graciously donated the $100 gift card to our winner, Cristiano. And then, he wanted to come on and just say, hey, and tell us what's going on with, what's going on for next year. We got a lot of stuff coming up. End of February specifically, going into the beginning of March. A lot of things going on in Daniel's world, a lot of stuff going on in my world. And I know Josh has got stuff going on in his world now that he started ramping up a little bit here and there. The Christmas tree is still up. You're falling behind. That's obviously not one of the things you've taken care of yet. But hey, I'm not one to, well, actually, I am one to talk. My tree's already down. It was down the day after Christmas. But anyways, take it away, Josh. How you doing, buddy?
Well, it's been a moment, man. It's nice to see you again.
Hey, nice to see you too.
I was leaving it up so you know what a Christmas tree looks like or should look like.
That's fair. Mine was pretty dainty considering my cats kept destroying the tree. It's like, they're like, oh, look at that big green thing. It's great. Look at all the ornaments. Oh, I'm going to chew on and play with that.
Our cat has become upstairs cat. She doesn't really come down when the dog's down here, but haven't really had issues with the tree this year, which is nice. But let's get into the shop. I really have a lot to share when it comes to that. Are we getting a show there, Nap, or should I stop
I was dusting myself off because before I go grab one of our other special guests, I have to make sure I'm kind of dustless because my wife gets really mad when I pick the other individual up with sawdust on me.
Well, I think it's unfair for me to go first when we have, Daniel sitting here and with that beautiful PWN CNC shirt on.
Hang on.
In the former shop, I should say. Look at that. Yeah. Oh, geez.
There it is.
Nice.
I was like, wait a minute. I'm wearing a PWN CNC shirt. I'm the inverse
I
of what
obviously
Daniel's
did
wearing.
not get the memo.
No. So, to be fair, I was wearing my Michigan jersey today, and what goes good with maize and blue, other than PWN CNC yellow and blue, so I wore it under. And now, here I am on the show.
This became a little bit awkward. Anyway, Daniel, thank you for joining us as always.
Absolutely. Happy to be here.
Well, let's get started. What's going on with your shop?
Well, we have tons and tons of parts flowing in. I tell you, almost every single day, I have got 5 or 6 boxes that I'm unloading and opening them up, finding out what's inside. And we have the stuff that's coming in nowadays is a lot of wires. Actually, I design and make and build the prototypes, and then I fully document and provide instructions and that sort of thing, exactly how I want them made. And then and then I send them out to actually be made because we're too small of a shop to actually do it all ourselves. We got, hundreds of cables so at a time, so we can't possibly make all of them ourselves. But once they come in, we inspect them, we run them through various tests to make sure they all function properly. But yeah, we're getting tons of wires. The wires we're getting in now is actually related to the ATC. This week, I'm expecting I was actually playing with the prototypes earlier today for the ATC, the pneumatics enclosure. That thing is way more complicated than the VFD, but it is smoothed out, and I'm building instructions on so that my team can actually build every step of the way. There's inspections and tests and validations that go on to make sure that this pneumatics enclosure is built properly, proper PSI, proper triggers at the right times, the MTC button works properly. All of those are related tests. They get run on every single pneumatics enclosure. And that's before we even plug it into the VFD so that it can do its thing and more tests and the motor, which I did get the notification, last week, that our first production batch of motors, it's about a dozen, I believe, are headed this way. So
nice.
They'll have I think almost every week they're probably going to be shipping out another dozen. So,
Heck yeah. With your process of assembly, do you guys got like a Kanban type system or a whip limit or anything like that to where it's like, okay, we're going to have like this many in this part of the queue, this many in this part of the queue. It takes this long to make this, like an entire assembly here. Like, what's their process as far as your story? What the heck is it called? Assembly line is concerned.
we actually have well, I guess in my head, it's more of a physical Kanban board where we've got a couple of racks. For the VFD side, the production is very smooth. I mean, we've been doing that for almost 2 years now. So we've got a couple of racks, which we set up. I think it's about 16, no, it's 30 bins that we can set up. So 30 per rack. So that's 60 VFDs that we can put together in one weekend. All 60 of them. Yeah, we have quite a volume. We got to keep it going. So every weekday we have the general team. Once they're finished fulfilling orders, they jump over to actually filling those bins, and those bins have the side panels, the HDP panels. We basically gather everything together that builds a VFD, and then we pull that. And then whenever the weekend comes, we have our teen workforce come in, and they grab a bin, and it takes about 15 minutes to put together, because it's all the parts are right there. So it takes 15 minutes to put together a VFD. Then it moves on to actually program and full testing. So, and of course, there are validations during the entire that 15 minutes also. So it's not just do it and then run off to the next one. But we have full tests and that sort of thing. And all that is built all on those racks. So 60 some odd VFDs sitting on the racks. They're built every weekend. They get stored in a particular spot for programming. And then once it's done there and testing, then it moves over to our storage, which is where Diana, my wife, collects all the pieces needed for every single spindle kit, puts it together, tests it again. And she's also doing the motor testing, so the break-in. So whenever we have a new order, we take the motor, we plug it all up. It's running for like 2 or 3 hours before she's actually able to finally start putting together spindle kits into a package to be shipped out. So we're breaking in the motors. We've got them running. We've got like 6 run stations.
I was going to say, how many run stations you got? Because that means, so what you're telling me is essentially the bottom line, or what's going to drive every spindle kit, is your break-in time, from what it sounds like.
Yep. And 6 seems to get it pretty well, because we can get about 10 to 20 spindle kits out per day. So depending on when UPS shows up to come and grab it all. But if we had more space, I would actually probably set up a dozen run stations so that we can have more spindle kits shipping out. But that'll be for the second warehouse, not for the current one.
Yeah, because
second warehouse.
So it doesn't draw a lot of power. I mean, okay, initial startup maybe draws a little bit, but once it's running, it doesn't draw a whole lot unless under load. So I mean, yeah. So you couldn't really increase it much further as far as maybe saying 10 stations. Can I lie? The number 6, it irks me. I don't know why. Just 4 more? 4 more? Couldn't?
Well, I thought ahead, and every single plug in our warehouse is a separate circuit.
Nice.
So all I got to do is just reach maybe 4 or 5 feet, and I've got another 2 or 3 circuits that I can use.
Okay. So, now when you're telling me you break in, okay, so you're just running them. You're not, no load, no nothing, just spinning them at whatever the RPMs are. So you, in theory, could double that, because you could have 2 VFDs on one circuit running the motors
easily. And these are all 20 amp circuits. I didn't chimp out with 15s. So we could probably squeeze in 3 if we absolutely needed to.
Okay. Yeah, no, I'm just like trying to imagine, just like that's pure insanity. Like every 2 to 3 hours you have spindle kits ready to rock and roll.
There's always a hum of a motor or 2 or 6
I'm surprised you fall asleep. I'm surprised you fall asleep to that thing. Because I'll be out there watching my CNC and I'm just like, so peaceful. Not really. I've got EPs on, but so peaceful. And for those listening, it's not the spindle that's making the noise; it's the carving itself. The spindle, if it was just going, as Daniel said, it's a hum. So
our next thing, we're slowly ramping up and developing our production process for the pneumatics enclosures. Now, we sell a fraction of the ATCs compared to the spindle kits, but they still need a full production, understanding, step-by-step, testing, the whole 9 yards. I have 24 pneumatics enclosures that are like 80% done. We're waiting for the wire inlets. And then I've got another 100 behind that, which are in various stages of development up to 80%. So by the end of this month, we will be shipping probably 24 ATCs, is my guess.
Wow, sweet. So on that, so you talk about break-in time for the regulars, right? We'll call them the regulars. But now you got these ATCs, pneumatics. The break-in's going to look different for that, I would assume, right? Because you're going to have to make sure that the pneumatics enclosure works well and doesn't have any issues with it, right? Put it under a load, so to speak, and I mean by the PSI and electronics, making sure that motors are, picking up and spitting out those, what are they called? The collets. I'm sure those are called something else, right? Because is it just a collet or is it called something different?
It's called a tool holder.
Okay, tool holder. Okay, well, so tool holder has the collet, which holds the,
Yep.
Okay, so you'll have to make sure it does those and spits them out, picks them up good, and then you'll have to obviously break those ones in too. So how much time do you project that increasing? Like how much more time do you think?
So a break-in for a motor is anywhere from 2 to 3 hours.
Right.
I'm planning a 6 hour per, basically one a day, one ATC kit a day, for breaking it in so that I can run the entire full gambit of everything. Now, basically everybody's motor and setup is basically going to be installed right onto my Woodworker Infinity Elite machine. And I'm going to plug everything up, make sure all the connections are correct. I'm going to even go in there and wiggle wires and yank on things just to make sure that everything is good. Make sure all that's secure and properly working. Run basically everything connected up. Run through the tool changes multiple times using my my air compressor and all that. I'll vary that. I'll probably even turn the air compressor off and make sure that it reacts exactly the way I expect it to react whenever failures happen or something like that. Obviously, making sure that I haven't shown much about this, but one of the cool features of our MTC button, which is definitely going to be tested, is the button will not work if the VFD is in run mode. And I've managed to get our MTC buttons they're actually LED buttons. So whenever there's I think I mentioned it in a video, but I didn't actually show much of it. And I'm going to be showing more of it very soon. I'm almost done designing a couple of handle designs that I like. But when the VFD is not in run mode, the button will light up saying that it's ready to be used. You push it, you can manually release chain tools, and then if you hit run or start a program, that LED will turn off, meaning the button is useless. And of course, that's one of the safety features that have to be tested to make sure all that works exactly as expected.
So will you be behind a bulletproof pane when you do this? Because, it'll be spinning and you'll be like, these don't work. Okay, it didn't work.
Luckily, the RPMs is actually irrelevant. It's the run state. So I can be running it. If it's in run state, as in the VFD is in solid mode, it's not blinking.
Oh, okay.
When you hit the run button. Yeah. So I don't actually have to spin it up to.
But it would be fun though, right? Like Beyblades, like we were like when we were kids,
Like I think that's a little more dangerous.
Come on.
What was it?
Have you played as an adult? Because my son has these things, and like when they break, because they pop now, they go flying. Like I got cut on one of them. They're serious.
Should put it on a V-bit. It'd be fine.
It'll be one of those
I got a
one of
boo-boo.
those nice tests. What is it? That flex test where someone was standing on top of their Onefinity gantry and then
Oh.
moving.
Oh, yeah.
I'll put my face down next to the motor and I'll push the button and prove that it works.
Yeah, for as much as game as that would be, I probably wouldn't do that.
Do it.
Should have a face mask on at least. It's like, well, listen, I know this isn't gonna do anything, but just in case, for all you trolls out there.
Gotta be safe, man. Better be safe than sorry.
Yep.
Well, you were talking about compressor. I don't know if this has been mentioned or not, but what size of a compressor would you need for the ATC? What's the minimum and that would do?
So it's not necessarily the size; it's more the PSI that you require. So
there it is.
it's how you use it. But I have got I think it's a $300. I think it's $250 or something. It's an aluminum based California air compressor. I can honestly tell you not to use it on a laser.
No,
I have a story there, but I can tell you that the replacement laser, it should be here on Thursday.
Wait, you broke your laser?
I did break my laser, yes. I had a capsized fire in it. And didn't notice until I was checking printers and I heard crackling going, oh, what's that? And I look around the corner.
How have I not... Okay, listen. I've had my laser
He's channeling his inner neck.
Relatively long, relatively the same amount of time. And I have set mine on fire, though. Disregard.
What?
So,
am I the only one that hasn't broke his cherry by starting his on fire?
Yes. Go take some wood and just let it sit. It'd be fine.
Turn your air compressor
off. I'm good. I am good. Thank you for all the wonderful advice I'm getting right now.
Anyways.
Now, I can't tell you the new one. I've decided to go with a Thunder laser, and they actually do have a heat a chamber heat sensor. So if there's a fire, I'll have an alarm going off.
So, question with your Thunder laser. Okay, so now in the community, we're not none of us are really looking for a handout, right? Now, mind you, PWN CNC is pretty well known these days. Are you going to link up with Thunder at all, or are you just going to buy that one outright?
If there's a transaction to be had, it always happens after the fact. Because I will not partner up with anybody I don't believe in. I buy it first. In fact, when I decided to look into Onefinity and actually buy that machine, I did buy it. Now they did refund it to me about a month later after we had some conversations and that sort of thing. And they reached out to me and said, hey, we want to work with you. And we usually offer a machine. I said, okay, well, I've already bought one, so I do like it.
That's fair.
I'm happy to join and help where I can, but know that PWN CNC is platform agnostic.
Yep.
I'm not in bed with any one person. In fact, I try very hard to make sure that we have a non-biased opinions and responses and everything.
There's one thing that your kits differ from a few others out there, maybe more like one or two out there. Yours are meant for every machine that you've touched, essentially.
Yep.
And if there's machines you haven't been, into, you are more than inclined to get said machine and work through it. Like you're working with the Mark 1 and Mark 2, I think. I'm
actually working on 4 machines right now.
I got the Avid. I know that.
I've got the Avid. I've got the Genmitsu V Pro XL something. I forget what they call theirs.
What the hell is that?
It's an Amazon based one. They sell it out, or at least that's where I found it. Genmitsu, I think it's called. It's a nice small one. It's almost the size of like the Nomad or a Onefinity Machinist size. The small ones. 16 by 16 style size beds.
Okay, I see.
Then let's see. I'm also working with Long Mill. We've made a big investment in the Long Mill community. Their controller actually requires a digital converter. So to convert the PWM signal, their digital PWM signal, convert it to an analog signal that our VFD can pick up and read, and actually provide you the exact RPMs that it's telling you to run. So we've developed our own little digital converter enclosure. We've found the proper circuits. We've wired it up where it's literally plug and play. It's awesome. Proud of that one.
Honestly, that's pretty crazy considering the fact that no matter the hurdle, so to speak, you and your team are able to figure those things out. I can tell you, I was working with Corey over at Cyclone or Odyssey CNC, working with his Cyclone rotary, and he gave me some basic stuff behind open builds because I never touched this stuff before. I reached out to you about certain things, and we gotten it up and running. I was able to get the spindle to execute spindle on commands. It took me probably about 30 to 45 minutes, but it now recognizes the commands to turn on, off. Nice. RPMs are off by a little bit, but not something that's going to be detrimental to a feed or a speed. We're talking like plus or minus maybe 15 to 20 RPMs. That's not really going to make that big a deal. But it's also because I think it's something to do with the open builds black box, its conversion, which is fine. Like I said, as long as it gets to the max 24K plus or minus, and I can run my projects, then I'm good. And that's something that I think is noteworthy is that machine had never had a PWN CNC spindle attached for spindle on and off or anything, period. And I was able to do that with we won't call it minimal knowledge, okay? Because I have a little bit of knowledge just based on, what was it? We'll call it Ground Zero, the Honyang Amazon special we put together way back when, which, by the way, is still working with the new owner that has my Shapoka. So not a bad setup considering. The thing's been going for almost 3 years now. But yeah, that anybody on any machine could essentially take your kit and attach it to theirs. It may require a little more research, but I guess within time, with your forum that we just started up here at the beginning of the new year, we'll be able to introduce maybe new platforms. Hopefully, folks out there in the community that don't have we'll call it the mainstream CNCs, we'll start bringing up some other ones and maybe bringing some more of that information to the forum, and we can start really bridging the gap between accessory and CNC user. So yeah, hats off to you, Dan. You're doing a really good job, and I'm more than happy to be a part of what you've been doing to the best of our abilities anyways.
It's nice to have an extended team of support. It's great to throw ideas out there and have actual valid real world experience and responses to it, because obviously I don't play with everything. I don't have every experience in the maker world. I know there's a lot of people with different perspectives, different projects that they love working on, and I love hearing about that. And yeah, as you said, the forum we started yesterday, actually. The forum.pwncnc.com. It's the place where, as I said before, is platform agnostic. So if you want to come and talk about your Onefinity, great. There's a section for you. Come on in. Look at the products. I'm constantly trying to make sure I'm posting something every single week, if not more often. I'm trying to get in and make sure that the team, our extended team, everybody's in there trying to interact and make sure that people feel welcomed. So long as they follow the golden rule, do unto others. Then you are more than welcome to stick around and you won't be banned.
Yeah.
And if you have opinions that are counter to a brand, well, let's bring it up. Let's talk about it, but do it constructively. Yeah.
Yeah, I will say real quick to hit on this because Daniel, so the team, if you will, just like any business, every business has its competitors. It is what it is. That's just business. There'll always be a competitor. There'll always be somebody that's going to try, not necessarily to like cut the legs out from under you, but always going to try to be better than you. And that's fine, right? Because just like anybody, we welcome all challengers. But there is a way to go about that. There is a decorum that goes with that. You can say how much better you are than somebody without being nasty. And unfortunately, in the community, and not just specific to what Daniel's selling, but to really everywhere, there are just nasty people out there that don't have anything better to do but be, for lack of better terms, a-holes about things. And that's fine. They can make themselves look like that in a public forum. PWN CNC and my company, Naps Naughty Works, and Josh, we all have our way of doing it, and that's with respect. Okay, I can respectfully disagree with you and not get nasty.
Absolutely.
And I know Daniel and our team has been doing a very good job of doing that. There's been a couple times where I've wanted to just get up in there and just start really going at it, but I just decided not to because, I don't have just Daniel's side to worry about. I also have an actual job that I still have to worry about that cares about what I say on social media. So I got to be a little careful. But
everybody has their own perspectives. I know whenever anybody on the team has some trouble communicating with a customer or with a person on social or something like that, I'm usually called in to say, hey, and it helps that I wasn't the initial person involved because then I can come in and go, I can look at the 50-foot perspective and go, okay, here's my guy's perspective on what's going on. Let me find out exactly what the customer is feeling and understanding and try to get their perspective on it. And let's see if we can bridge that gap and find a solution that benefits the customer. There's no reason why every single transaction can't be equally beneficial. Benefit us, benefit them, everybody wins. Why not? It just take a little more work, but it's worth doing, in my opinion.
I think it says a lot when the owner of a company steps in and says, hey, this is what it is. This is what your problems you're having. This is how we can fix it. If that doesn't fix it, well, then guess what? I've got another way we can fix it, whether it be a replacement or it be this or that. I think I've noticed on multiple occasions, you've never shied away from replacing something, but you've always done your due diligence beforehand. Because at the end of the day, business is business. Bottom line is still the bottom line. And I think people forget that. They're like, oh, just give me free new things because this didn't work or I messed it up. Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's not how that works because you buy it, you break it, guess what? Sorry, homie, you might have to buy it again. Now, sometimes people are cool if it's something smaller. Like, all right, we'll replace it this time, but how about we follow the instructions next time? Or, hey, let's make sure we buy something that is maybe suitable to what you're trying to do rather than cheap out and get like the 0.8 kilowatt one and pass it off as possibly a 1.5. Stuff like that. People seem to think that, I don't know, they think we're dumb. I don't know.
The most common. Go ahead.
Sorry. I think it's just where we are at as a society right now. It's get something, it doesn't work. We want something new. It's not troubleshooting. It's not working at it. And unfortunately, that's the mindset of a lot of people.
But like he was saying, and we've kind of talked about this, was, just being able to test it, go through, test, make sure everything works the way it needs to. And let's just be real. For all of our listeners out there, if you have a PWN CNC spindle and you've had issues and it happens to be a component, guess what? There's percentage of error. It's going to happen. Things could be rated for, let's say, 1,000 hours. Okay. It works for 100. And that's like the one out of however many that have been sent out. There is going to be a percentage of error. You're never going to identify things that are wrong during testing. It's not, you can't expect that. It's not feasible. How many times would you say you've dealt with that, Daniel, where it's like, well, I guess it was just a bad part. Like, never would have thought.
It's exceedingly rare. I'll tell you that. Exceedingly rare. I've almost never I can't remember a specific VFD that's actually been broken. It's been broken because, when I first started out, I put too much pressure on the drill to lock down that screw, and I ended up breaking a Phoenix terminal. Well, that's my problem, not the VFD's problem. every VFD that has had problems, I've been able to bring it back in, reprogram it, clear it, sync it, do whatever I needed to do, and it was back up and running just fine. Now, those that have exceedingly irritating issues that I don't really want to put into customers' hands, I usually hook it up to one of my machines and I use it personally. And it continues to run like a rock star. So, yeah.
And sometimes I think that's because people are looking for instant gratification and don't want to put the work into something to make it work again or take the proper troubleshooting steps. Because I find it hard to believe when people say, oh, well, like I've seen things, okay, in social media, and you just sit there and think, like,
we got a veteran over here.
But it's just like, it doesn't sound right. Like when people say certain things, you're like, yeah, that doesn't seem right. Like, oh, this person didn't help me. Yeah, I'm calling BS. Like, I'm pretty sure they did. You just either A, weren't paying attention, or B, think you just knew more. You know, whatever the case
or
would
they're
be.
too lazy to actually do what the person helping was willing to, telling them to do. A lot of people just want things done for them.
Here's where I put my my neutral hat on, and sometimes they may have had a really bad day that day, and was not in a receptive mood for the instructions that you were providing. You never know what happened. You really don't. And everybody is different moods, and they change throughout the day, day to day. Yeah.
I've heard this before, and you've said this before on our different messaging apps and whatnot. This is not the first time he said this. He does put on the neutral hat, and he definitely is great at pretty much getting. Sometimes we all get worked up. It just is. We're human, right? And Daniel brings people back, and it's very impressive how you do that.
It's taken many years and many life experiences that if you give me a couple beers, I can share various.
Hey, listen, we're gonna have a couple beers at the end of this month, and I can't wait to hear these stories. Okay, this time's gonna be special, though. I have a feeling. Speaking of beers, having campfire stories and those things. Workbench Con's going to look a little different this year. Last year we had a single stall. You went big this year. You want to talk a little bit about that?
Yes, we went with a 16 by 10 stall. That's almost twice, or is it twice the square footage? My math is failing me right now. But we're in the main area this time. We're going to be put right up front. Everybody's going to see us nonstop. We're going to do some really cool things. And this year, I think we've decided that T-shirts is the thing to do. So we're going to try to get everybody
everybody wanted T-shirts. What?
Yes.
T-shirts.
We're going to try to do great. T-shirts.
Heck yeah.
I'm going to be ordering 500 plus, I think, or more.
Wow.
Yeah, a lot of T-shirts.
Can we get one for each day of the week? Yellow, black, yellow, black.
No, it's going to be labeled on the tag. This is Monday shirt. This is Tuesday shirt.
I did have to make some more so that I could do that, because if you ever see me at any random time during the week, I'm probably wearing a PWN CNC shirt.
Well, as you should. I mean, you go all out, especially with your business. I mean, I do with my North Country Woodworking. I have 4 hoodies. I have, people must think I wear the same T-shirts and stuff because I have 4 different colors, and that's what I wear in my off time because I'm either in the shop or I'm out, and those are my, I say, play shirts.
Well, so it's funny you say that because Naps Naughty Works is going to have a polo shirt for this Workbench Con because Wifey has an embroidery machine now, and I can make. Ooh. Oh yeah, I'll talk about that. I went too far. Talk about Workbench Con, and I'll tell you a little more.
Tell Wifey, can I get one?
We'll talk. But yes. Anyways,
so we've been talking about it, and I think we're pretty much set that we're probably going to give away probably. I'm not sure what the big gift is, but we are going to have a drawing, and I think we've decided that the drawing is going to be. We want you to have. In order to get an entry in the drawing, you have to be wearing a PWN CNC shirt. Grab one of the teammates, one of us.
Oh God!
And let's take a picture. And that's how you get a drawing in the this big giveaway. I still got to.
Cool.
I still got to talk to. I still got to talk to the CFO to
The
make
other
sure.
boss. Got it.
Yes.
The
To
boss
determine
behind
what's
the curtain.
in the drawing.
That's
Tell
awesome.
the CFO that we want more exposure.
I would love to see a sea of Pwn CNC shirts, everybody wearing them at the Workbench Con. How cool would that be?
That would be awesome.
I think it'd be awesome. And then also just like knowing certain people will be there and the reactions will just, I don't know. It's going to put a smile on
They're
my
welcome
face.
to a t-shirt as well. Holding
Yeah,
on
no,
back.
I'll say, hey, would you like to wear this shirt? Hey, how about let's take a picture? Hey, do you want to try to win this? I mean, hey, listen, some folks out there are very shameless and they'll go look for the free stuff. So why not just wear a shirt and take a picture? Not a big deal, right?
It's easy.
We're-
Honestly, of all the stuff that you could enter and do, it's pretty easy to do.
We do it every month.
So-
we did it today.
So one of the we're gonna have a really great Workbench Con. We're gonna have a couple of 3D printers. So we're gonna be showing people how we make the products. We're even gonna have a couple of heat and solder stations. So we're gonna have show people how we're gonna actually have interactive this time. We're gonna have someone monitoring a soldering station so that you can show how to insert heat inserts into plastic.
Nice.
Show them how to install magnets and that sort of thing, and we'll have various products up to the point where if you're actually interacting and coming in and learning these things, you can actually get a free product that you're going to finish a product and then get to walk away with that product.
That's pretty cool. I like that.
Yeah.
I think that's where WorkbenchCon needs to go more toward. Not just show, but do. And I think you're going to take that charge on that. Yes.
And Total Boat did that last year, which I thought was pretty neat.
Yeah,
Total Boat,
they always have something going on there.
And I thought that was pretty cool. Like that entire main room, Daniel, which I think it's great you're doing the interactive, is if you notice, a lot of those stations in the main room were all interacting. And the gong at the very end of last year's Workbench Con was made during Workbench Con, which I thought was pretty cool. So
we actually both worked on that. We have pictures.
We did.
And videos.
Yes, we did. My 2 seconds of fame.
You were good. You were great, man. Great technique.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Daniel, do you got anything else going on? Because there is someone that has a unique story on this podcast right now, that life-changing story I'd like to hear before the end of the episode.
What are we talking about?
That's you, Nat.
Oh, yeah, I'll be back.
Well, I'll pass the baton. I'm sure there's more information to be had, for sure.
There is a lot going on this year for PWN CNC. It's a great outlook. We're going to really show the strength of PWN CNC at Workbench Con, and we're going to end it there because there's a special guest on this episode. Look at that. That guy looks like his mom.
All right. What's up, dude? Yeah, so he's currently upset. As you can see. Oh, it's okay, buddy. Yep, so he's between doing things in his diaper and possibly hungry all at the same time. So you know how they be. If I was a baby, we'd be living the life, just wouldn't have any care in the world. Just got to survive. That's it.
Yeah.
But yeah, so that's my little baby boy, Asher. He's finally getting control of his eyes and his big old head. A big yawn and more crying. But now that you've seen him, I'm going to take him back to mom because he seems like he's not in a happy mood right now. Not really sure why.
Probably hungry and tired.
I don't know. I don't know if he just woke up.
There's only like 3 things they can really do right now.
This is true. Very, very true. But yeah, so he's doing really good. Everything's fine. No ailments, no nada.
That's awesome.
Nice.
But he was 9 pounds, 14 ounces, if you didn't know that.
Big baby.
Beautiful.
Bigger than Zane was. And there we go. And we're going to go back to mom. So I'll be back.
The handoff is real. Sorry about that, Daniel. I know he said he was going to bring him on, and I wanted to make sure we had a chance.
That was well worth the interruption.
But Yeah, I'm super. He has a lot going on too. This year is going to be a big year. I think not only for PWN CNC, for Nap, myself, and for the podcast. We have a lot of different things going on, and I'm excited. You got any like big things this year you want to share with us? That 2024 goal?
Okay.
Well,
So-
I know, yeah. Well worth it.
Mhm.
Well done. Well done, Daddy.
Yeah, I only had like a small part to play in that. But anyways, yes. What were you guys saying?
I asked Daniel if he had a 2024 goal in mind for PWN CNC.
Growing, having an awesome launch of getting ATCs into hands. That's short-term goals. Probably a second warehouse would be my guess. We've got to decide. And let's see, I know as far as products go, we are probably going to be, I think our main goal is we're going to try to invest in a Masso style upgrade, try to genericize some of the items. So for example, the first goal is probably put a Masso Touch onto the Shipoko 5.
Nice.
And have it as close to a plug and play style kit as possible. And then have kind of levels. So the first level is actually just replacing the controller. The second level may be adding, using closed loop stepper motors to replace the actual motors to give it more power there. Then
Nice.
maybe a third step at some point, put a screw drive on the older machines. Not sure.
Yes.
I know there's a lot of people with secondary and tertiary market CNC machines. So they didn't buy it from Shipoko, from Carbide. They bought it from someone who bought it from Shipoko. So the secondary market. So we want to help all these people and let them know that they're not left behind. They don't have to buy a brand new $5,000 CNC machine just to get some of the benefits, like the better controls or, our products, like an ATC.
Yeah. That's awesome. That's some pretty good goals. We had Tim from Gears of Fire in the chat. He goes, "You should hire a product developer." Hint, hint. Me, I think he says.
This is like me.
Yeah, I got a heart covering it. So, but that's a pretty hefty goal list. You know what? I know you're one of those people that when you say something, it happens. So be on the lookout, everyone, for that to happen this year. With that, Nap, I got to know what's happening in the shop, man. I know you've been back in there. You've had a crazy busy end of the year, beginning of the year. We just got to see some of why you've been busy.
His giant distraction.
Yeah, the child is huge. So okay, to be fair, I ain't gonna lie, my wife's been a rock star, so she's on her paternity leave right now. So she's got her time off, and she's been staying up with Asher and those things because I haven't started mine yet. I'm not going to start mine until the 5th of February because the 1st of February was on a Thursday. And I don't know, I have this weird thing about starting things on weird days. Okay, it has to start on a Monday or, something along those lines. So we have a full week. I'm not starting in the middle of the week because that's just weird. And then I'll go till, I think it's like mid-March. And that's just because it's 6 weeks. So wherever it lands in March is where it is. And I'll go from there. But she's been staying up with him and let me sleep so I can, go to work not tired because in my current line of work, being tired is not actually really in the cards. When you're loading 40,000 pounds with a 40,000 piece of machinery, at times it's not safe if you're tired. So she's been really good about helping me out with that. And on that, she's also been taking care of them with the in-laws while I work in the shop. So shop's been kind of crazy, actually, wrapping things up and starting more things. Matter of fact, I have a cutting board I'll be finishing tonight that I started like 6 hours ago. Not even 6 hours ago, just long enough for the glue to set so I could work with the panel I made. It'll be cured by tomorrow, and that's fine. I'll probably give it an oiling right before I go to bed and then oil it one more time and say, hey, guess what? You asked for it yesterday, and you got it today. So if it's a little oily, sorry.
Happens.
But that's fine because I think they fully expect it. Honestly, these folks probably don't even expect it to be a super nice thing, right? Because a lot of time rush products aren't great products. Well, I going to tote my own horn a little bit here, but I make some pretty nice stuff pretty quick. And cutting boards, that's an easy ask, especially if it's just face green. It's not a whole thing. You know what I mean? The most I have to do to it is make it look like a baseball diamond and laser engrave some stuff on it real quick and call it a day. And then to get into something a little more difficult, this one's due in 9 days, due on the 11th. So I was tasked to build something different. We'll just call it, because people don't make stuff like this. At least in most of the maker community, they don't make stuff like this. Only people I know that really use a rotary frequently are people like Nick from Birch Toll Designs. He makes some very interesting things. If you've seen his Instagram,
great handles.
Yeah, you will know his nickname. And listen, it's out there. It's Titty Nick. That's just him. Okay, that's how everyone knows him. Look at his Instagram. You'll figure out why. But I talked to some folks that know rotary very well, and I have this. So you may wonder, well, Nap, what is that? So this is actually a wooden replica of a missile that's loaded on aircraft. So this is the second rendition of it. Still some things I'm not too pleased about with it, but it will do. Okay, it'll do for what it needs to be used for. I just got to sand some things out, make a couple things look like they're supposed to be there, and it'll be fine. That was the second one. The first one was this one. Notice how much smaller this is. The reason why it's so much smaller is because there was supposed to be a wing right here. Like right there, to that high. Unfortunately, too much material got taken away because I was using a 3D print file, and we all know that the printers can go super thin, whereas a wood file, if it's fragile or super thin, it's not printing, it's taking stuff away. So that's the difference. When you're adding material to make something, you're less likely to get a tear out or imperfection. Or if you're taken away, between how the bits work and feed speeds and orientation of the grain and all the things, bit catches it by a little bit, snaps it right off. Well, that's what happened here. And that's fine. Learning experience. I think what I'm going to move on to next with this particular item is I'm going to make another one of these later down the road without the wings on the bottom, without the wings on the back, and I'm going to make pieces that attach to it so it's functional, so I can move the wings and things. That's my next step with these. How that's going to look, I don't know yet, because I'm not as smart as Daniel, and I don't have a lot of time to research and develop how I'm going to do that. It's going to take me more time than it probably would take Daniel, honestly.
I have a few names, Daniel being one of them, but Tim from Gears and Fire could definitely help you out with that. He's really good in the CAD software as well.
Yeah, he does the SolidWorks stuff, which, yes, Tim, I need to talk to you about SolidWorks for sure, because I need to learn how to CAD design pieces and parts so I can make things like replicas, which I think would be super cool. To make like a replica kit and sell it as kits, and people can put it together themselves and paint it and do all the things they want with it. I think that'd be super cool. But I'm not quite there yet. That's probably like retired Naps problems, not right now. Naps problems. So there's that project. This will have a stand. So on the bottom there is a notch, and yes, the rotary allows for that to happen. So there's a notch that it'll sit just like that in the center on a piece of wood, and it'll have a coin rack and a plaque on it, and that'll go out. I'm pretty much done at this point. This is a sand, shape, finish. And then I do the other stuff, which doesn't take very long.
How long did it take to carve?
Because of the fragile stuff and the roughing pass, it took, I want to say, roughly 5 hours in total between finishing and roughing.
That's not too bad. That's actually a lot shorter than I thought.
Yeah, I was actually very conservative with my cuts, just because I'm learning still how I should cut with the rotary. I figured a lot of things out, and honestly, between this one and this one, I figured a lot out, and I'm very much looking forward to doing more. I just gotta get in the CAD software more, learn it better, learn it more, so I can produce my own things, and then run them on a rotary instead of buying them offline, because I had to buy the model. Like, I'm not going to front. I didn't make the model. Okay, it's just...
That's nothing wrong with that. I mean, we do that with SVG sometimes to save time. I mean, like, it's okay, man. This is a safe place.
It's Safe place, safe space. But yeah, so there's that. I made 5 cutting boards for my coworkers. They love them. They were already in use. I actually got pictures of them in use already. One of which was commandeered by one spouse and said, "Oh, this is a very nice charcuterie board now. You will not cut on this." I was like, that's not what that's for. That's for chopping meats and things. I made edge grain for a reason. But I guarantee you he's going to use it, and it'll be fine. But I've seen some steaks. I've seen some vegetables on these cutting boards already, and I'm very happy that they're using them. I also made that dog memorial and something else. Mm-hmm. It was a quote on a piece of quote-unquote scrap. I actually took a piece of burl that I have just chilling in my scrap pile because they're not going to be used for actual projects until maybe like a cutting board or something. But one of the pieces happened to fit the quote that I used it for, and it had something along the lines of doing, old man in a new world type thing. Not ridiculing like the old ways with the way the new things are going, in today's society, stuff like that. I can find the quote and read it to you guys, but it has to do with the dog that passed away, and then also the fact that the chief is one of those people, older folk in a younger generation throw.
Old school thought. Yeah.
So there was that. I have 3 pieces of drinkware I have to etch for some people, which Josh, I got to get back with you for the winners on the 3 pieces. I honestly can't remember them all.
Okay.
So I can reach out to them, get their logos. Is there anything else that I'm working on? I've got this really crazy shadow box I'm making. So if you remember, we had a metal worker for metal on our show a while back for Metal Tuition. I have to make a shadow box, and it's a very obscure one. I'm excited to make it. I just don't know how yet. It's due in February, so I got at least a couple weeks to figure out and fabricate, and really figure out how I'm going to do it. I have an idea. He showed me a picture of the one he wants to make it after. Thickness is where I got to layer some stuff, and I'm trying to figure out if I'm going to layer wood or if I'm going to do like a high density foam type thing. I don't know yet. So we'll see.
It depends how many layers.
Yeah,
you want to wait. Yeah. Okay. Sorry.
Believe me, I've been there, thought about it, and all the thoughts have gone.
It might be foam for you.
Might be. But we'll see. Outside of that, though, got a couple other things in the works with shadow boxes and whatnot. I have a huge upgrade coming, so I did purchase the Onefinity upgrade, waiting for it to show up at my house. Hopefully, it's roughly the same time frame that Daniel's ATC shows up. And yes, you heard it right. I bought these at the exact same time. No, I didn't pay for them all the way up front because here's the beautiful thing about these businesses. They have financing. And I make enough money from jobs that I can pay financing and just pay it that way. Because I'm not, honestly, the amount of money it costs to make, the amount of money it is to make things faster, it is definitely a lot. However, the time saved later down the road, it's going to be worth it. Especially when I start getting into multiple 3D carves and I don't have to change a bit ever. It just changes for me. And oh, hey, by the way, I know when it's done because guess what? The machine won't be running anymore. So I'm excited about that, and that's really all I've got going to the shop. Now, Josh, I know you got a lot going on, dude, and I cut myself short a little bit because I'm looking at the time we got.
No, man, keep going. You share what you need to share.
Well, so we got plenty of time on another episode, and that's fine because I'm not working on all these things right now, and I don't want to give too much with all those other things. Oh, that's right. Sorry. Wife's embroidery. Wife's got a Cricut machine and I own an embroidery machine. She's getting a 3D printer next. Save me.
That's awesome.
So she's going to be running another wing, if you will, of my business. She's going to be part of Naps Naughty Works this year, and she'll be running custom embroideries and vinyl. So I'm pretty excited about that. And then, of course, anything that Daniel has that we can print, I'm going to print. She's going to print. She's going to learn.
So only if you have another 10 or 20 printers.
Yeah, no,
you got the room.
Yeah, right.
How many do you have now?
I'm up to 30. And we've even hired someone to, he's working 9 to 3 every day. So he's keeping those printers running. And then this semester, I've actually got even more help. I've got a college student, one of our former teens, turned college student. He's going to come in the evenings and keep the printers going even further into the night.
Oh, that's good. Like a swing shift type deal.
Yep.
Nice. Hey, real
It'll be
quick.
nice and slow and quiet, and he can do some studying if he needs to.
Hey, listen, all he's there is just to monitor, right?
That sounds like a great job.
Hey, real quick, because I think I already know the answer to this, just because of the capabilities of said controller. But Victor asks, in the future, are you planning on integrating Buildbotics for your ATC? Now, correct me if I'm wrong, that does not have the capability to run that.
It does not support full ATC functionality.
Okay.
Yeah. We are continuing to research it, and I have in the Buildbotics official version, I helped and pushed him to add some code for us on the Onefinity black box. There's actually lines of code that I wrote myself that is now in the official program. So I've got the code, I've edited it, I know how to build it, I know how to test it, throw it up on a machine, and I have direct contact to their firmware team. So it is something I'm researching.
That is awesome.
Most excellent.
That's pretty cool. You got anything else to share there, Nat?
Nah, man.
I'll share a couple things real quick, but I'll say most of it for the next episode because we're going to be doing this again next week, same time. So not a big, we're not going to take too long here. The big thing I wanted to go ahead and talk about real quick is I'm using UGS or Universal G-Code Sender currently on my machine. So I reached out to Daniel and a few other people, and I asked, like, hey, what are you guys using to send code to your CNC machine? First was CNCJ. I used a little bit. Kind of wonky. Wasn't bad. But then when I started using the UGS, it actually, I really like it. I have done 2 jobs with it now. I'm not going to lie, I felt like a brand new user while I watched it go for the first time, because even though I did testing, it's one of those things I don't have experience like I had in my last program. So I'm holding my breath, right? I got that new CNC experience all over again. First carb, great. Did everything it needs to do. Second carb, did great. I messed it up because, like, apparently my bed ain't completely level. Go figure that out, right?
Man, I'll tell you what, man, you're in that damn bed, I swear.
Well, yes, we'll just leave it at that. And anyway, so I tried to throw some cards underneath one of the edges to raise it up so it was level and, it could carve fine. I raised it up a little too much, so I had to do like 16 passes. Like, I'm talking small passes each time to hide the mistake. We got her done. But I got to really integrate with Aspire. I keep saying UGS. It's new to me. Just got used to it. And just go back and forth. I have files set up through Google Drive where my main computer saves it to a folder, automatically uploads to my other computer, and I'm able to integrate those fairly well. I tried to use a Xbox controller with the new program. It seems to work fine. I think there's an issue on my side where the Z-axis moves independently. Not using it currently, but that's something I like to troubleshoot because it'd be really nice to, pretty much use that as moving my CNC machine. A lot of different stuff in there I haven't even dived into, but I could type additional stuff in there. I can edit SVGs. It's like a better easel that's offline. So I'm super happy with it. I'm actually really excited to get out there and see some more. I did the job that I kind of messed up on. I lost my mini Jenny bit, 1/8 compression bit. No idea where it went. Like, it could be here, it could be in there. Don't know. I took basically all the bits I have, including the Jenny bits and all the Amada tools and everything in between. Set up Excel spreadsheets, the pricing, the links, the blades, basically. So if I need them, I can click on this stuff, replace them, how much they cost. Really got into it. That way, when I'm doing my jobs, I know exactly what bit I have. I can go ahead and click that, and I'm not guessing. Because that was the first round of designs I did. In Aspire, I was kind of guessing, and then I sat down and I'm like, I don't want to guess when it comes to, a piece of walnut that's completely figured I'm going to dive into it with bits. So lessons were learned. I never really messed up enough where I had to scrap a project yet, but I'm really enjoying this experience more so than I thought of, learning this stuff again. And with the experience I previously had, I can so far alleviate some mistakes I think I would have had in the beginning. Just knowing is the bit going to drag across my piece? No, it's a smart program. It actually lifts up and drags. They have some great features in there. If you have questions about it, please reach out because, we can work through it together. I have some answers, maybe even could figure it out for you. But that's the big thing that's happening in the shop right now. And then that sign is actually done today. I have it out there. It's all painted up. And then I have a really nice shadow box from Smashing Knives, Matt. He was in Jersey with me. We did some projects together. And he's a knife maker by trade. And I'm doing his shadow box. So really, I got to go to my woodworking supply. Great experience there, which I'll share in the next episode. And I got some really detailed wood, figured wood, some maple, and then a new type of wood I wasn't aware of and haven't used before. And I'm trying to, it's a Katabox, Katabox wood. It is an ebony type of wood from Mexico. It is really rich, dark, chocolatey. It's like a better quality walnut. It's heavy. It's like one board was pretty expensive, but it's hefty. You could tell the density of the wood's really ebony style. And that's going to go into an inlay, and I get to work with that for the first time. So more to come on that. But yeah, I got some pretty cool stuff going in the shop, learning some programs. The 3D printer seems to be, cooperating with me at the moment. So, and Daniel's laughing because he knows, those are temperamental. But yeah, as far as the shops and everything goes, it's really coming along. I'm really excited about 2024 based on the last two episodes we had on here and just the stuff I've been experiencing so far. It's my shop again. I feel at home in my shop, and that's big. I'm knocking stuff out, not at the same speed because of the learning curves, but I definitely can see how I'm going to utilize this shop. And there's a lot of different things I'm trying. Nap, you've been made aware of a couple, some laser engraving stuff and different things. Not saying that I have a whole bunch of stuff coming out that you have never seen, just new to me and new experiences for at least North Country Woodworking. So with that, I want to thank Daniel for coming on. We love having you on, man. Just, what you bring to the table with your knowledge and what you're experiencing over there. And then PWN CNC, what you guys are producing. There's no words for it. It's amazing. And is that the notebook that I gave you? Sorry. It's a shiny item.
Mine's at the warehouse right now on my desk.
I was going to engrave those, but honestly, I just didn't have time for it, but they're nice. Anyway, with that, do you have any final words for the podcast of people listening?
Well, anybody who is trying to buy a chiller, know that it's going to be, looks like this is an interesting thing. I keep digging in with communicating with tons of people to make sure we get all these cool products in and that sort of thing. Occasionally, there might be delays or shipping delays or whatnot, and I may not order things as fast as I don't expect them to, or I didn't anticipate them to be as popular as they were, and I didn't reorder soon enough. And the chillers is definitely one of those. That has become a very popular item, and so much so that we're going to have, looks like our next 100 is going to be here on the 15th.
Oh, wow.
And I'm already telling her to write up another order for another 100.
Jesus.
But know that I am constantly working on new products, new things coming out almost every single month. If somebody wants me to look into something particular, I know I'm working on something. I can't say anything until the end of the month, but it's a neat little product. It's small. It's not a major game changer, but it is something that they were interested in improving their machine. So that's coming in. Any other ideas or something like that, just let us know. I mean, the fact that we had enough power to push a spindle manufacturer to actually make a spindle motor, an ATC motor just for us with the specs that we wanted, means that we are pooling our collective desires, channeling it. Yes, it's channeling it through one company, but at least you know that company is listening to you. We want to know what you guys want so that we can offer it. We're not trying to make money here. We're trying to improve everybody's lives while making money. I mean, we got to survive.
Hey, again, at the end of the day, business is business. But the difference between your business and others' business is, yes, you're making money. However, you're doing it by listening to the community and making what they want. So,
and reinvesting. You got to constantly reinvest. So
100%.
I guess I can leave you with that. Always be investing in your business. Work on your business just as much as you work in your business, and you're guaranteed to succeed.
Solid advice.
I like it. I don't have a whole lot to say, Josh, other than it's great being back on. Hopefully I have more episodes to join and be on. And even if I do leave as a permanent host, I'll still be on here and there when I can, whenever my new job, if I get that job, permits. I'm just letting everyone know that I'll be thinking about you. My inbox is still open. And yeah, until next time.
I'm going to put this. I hope you get the job, and I hope you don't at the same time.
No, I know what you mean, man.
I'm full of emotions. I don't know what I'm saying. No, seriously, congratulations, to you and your wife. You have a beautiful, beautiful baby there. Daniel, again, thank you for coming on. And hopefully you guys had a wonderful Christmas and Happy New Year. Thank you for everyone for joining us. The first episode of the year, episode 184. 200th episode is coming up here, I believe, in April. So that's going to be a big, big one. And I hope that everyone is ready for it. It's going to be simple. You show up, you're entered. That's simple. As long as you're subscribed to the channel, and it's going to be hopefully a community-oriented giveaway. We'll leave it at that. Anyway, hopefully you guys learned something about PWN CNC on here, what's coming up, what he currently has. For the Patreons, you got to see the beautiful baby that we keep talking about. Hopefully you get in the shop to make some sawdust. And Sawdust Station Podcast out. Happy New Year.